Operation Stop Bernie Sanders is underway in the Democrat Party. Hey everyone, I'm Chad Hasty, host of the Chad Hasty Show, which airs weekday mornings 8:30 to 11 a.m. Central Time. News Talk 95.1 FM and 790 a.m. KFYO. Well, Super Tuesday is coming up tomorrow, and it's been quite the last few days for Joe Biden, the former vice president who won in South Carolina, won that primary decisively, and is consolidating power in the so-called moderate lane of the Democrat Party. On Sunday, Pete Buttigieg announced that he would step aside. He was dropping out of his campaign. And then just a couple hours ago, actually, Amy Klobuchar announced that she would drop out of the race. Both Amy Klobuchar and Pete Buttigieg expected to join Joe Biden at a rally in Dallas this evening and endorse Joe Biden in his quest not only for the Democrat nomination, but also his quest to stop Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders had all the momentum before South Carolina and will probably have momentum after Super Tuesday, but the latest moves by Democrats will give voters some pause on Tuesday. Now, I don't think we're going to see something magical, some magical thing happen on Tuesday where Joe Biden is going to sweep on Super Tuesday. I still think that Bernie Sanders will win in California. He'll win Texas, but it's going to be maybe a little bit closer than it would have been just 48 hours ago. I think that you're going to see Bernie Sanders win in some of the other states as well that he was favored to win, and Joe Biden will win the states that he was favored to win, and then it's an all-out war to see who gets the Democrat nomination. The Democrats are destined in their mind to stop Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders basically had the nomination within his grasp, and the Democrats are trying to take that away from Bernie Sanders. Now, Bernie Sanders still has to do his part. He still has to win states, but with all these Democrat moderates, so-called moderates, dropping out of the race, it does open up the possibility that Joe Biden can move through the center, grab as many delegates as possible, and make a very good case that he should be the nominee if neither he or Bernie Sanders get the number of delegates needed by the time they reach the convention. Elizabeth Warren is staying in the race as of right now. If you're part of the Bernie Sanders campaign, you are desperately trying to get Elizabeth Warren to drop out of the race. For Bernie Sanders, you're also desperately hoping that Mike Bloomberg stays in the race to maybe peel off some delegates from Joe Biden. And then there's Tulsi Gabbard, who is also hanging on as well. But make no mistake, the moves that have happened over the last 48 hours have all been to consolidate power within the moderate, so-called moderate wing of the Democrat Party to stop Bernie Sanders. This is probably going to enrage the Bernie Sanders supporters across the U.S., and it would not surprise me if this actually has ramifications where you're going to see an increase in the vote. Listen, again, I don't think you're going to see anything magical happen on Tuesday night where Joe Biden goes through and wins a whole bunch of states that he was not predicted to win. But I do think that Operation Stop Bernie has begun, and you're going to see some big-time battles now between Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders moving forward. And we'll see if Joe Biden can actually capitalize on the momentum or if he falls apart in future debates. Listen, Joe Biden has had maybe one decent debate, and that's about it. Can you really count on Joe Biden to have a lot of good debates? Probably not. So it's still a very fluid situation. I will say this, and I've brought this up on the show before. If you're and this is, I've talked about it in the videos also, that I'm no fan of early voting. And here are some examples why. Just this weekend, Amy Klobuchar drops out. Pete Buttigieg drops out. Tom Steyer drops out. Who really cares? But those three candidates are on the ballot in Texas, and people have voted for those candidates already. If you were a Democrat and you voted in the Democrat primary and you cast a ballot for Pete Buttigieg or Amy Klobuchar, how pissed off are you right now that your vote really doesn't count? It means nothing in the presidential primary. Now, the Texas Senate race, it matters in other races as well. But for the presidential race, your vote really doesn't matter. This is why I tell people you don't have to vote early. And if I were a Democrat, I would have waited until Tuesday to vote. I would not have voted early. Tune in to the Chad Hasty Show weekday mornings, 8:30 to 11 a.m. Central Time. News Talk 95.1 FM and 790 AM KFYO.